going to put a little show on right here. I don't know if this Callaway driver can take it right here, the punishment. .217.
And that club head speed nearing 150. That apex obviously a little bit higher.
Look where this carries. This almost carried 420.
Then he lost some yardage with the resock.
Goodness sakes. They ran out of paint back there, boys.
437.
437. He did his job.
Welcome, guys. Episode 4 of the infamous Performance Podcast. Got my first guest and long-term friend, Joe Miller, in today.
I'm the first guest.
The first one.
The first guest.
The first one.
That's how you know how to start with a bang, didn't you, right?
That's it. So today we're going to be talking all things on, obviously, performance and training, Joe's career. If you don't know what Joe does, he is a long driver in golf. And if you know what that means, it means he can hit a golf ball further than fucking Superman can. So it's like, yeah. And if you haven't seen it...
World records, right?
World records, I don't think there is. Do you know what? World records has always been a funny grey area for this because of technology and the way it's evolved. It evolves so quickly. You know, if you set one today and the new bit of technology comes out tomorrow, it doesn't matter. So world records, no, but two world championships, probably won somewhere between 40 and 50 competitions across Europe. But yeah, obviously the two world championships are the ones that always people point to. Europe, whatever. That's what it's always been. Who cares about that?
And let's just make this clear for people. Like, I know we're probably going to get a lot of golfer guys who love a bit of golf. Let's just make this clear. So when you go to the driving range, what they normally set about 350?
No, you would never. In this
250?
In this country, 252.
So we're looking at 250. So let's just put this into perspective. Joe does that with a putter.
Top golf 250.
He can hit that with a putter. So what's your max distance now? So over 5 now?
No, I've hit 500 before, but it's
but recorded in competition.
Recorded in competition. Again, that changes because conditions change.
Yeah.
I had a European record for however many years, 474 yards. But because of conditions, slightly downwinds, downhill, it could be anything. But World Championships, first World Championship I won was 414 yards. Second one was 423 yards. Yeah. And to be honest, distance is the last thing I care about, or anyone in long drive cares about, because it's how all you can do is hit that ball as good as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you hit it as fast as you can out the middle of the face as much as you can without going too technical, with as little loft on the face of the driver as possible, so you're getting more penetrating flight. Once you do that, once that ball leaves the face, the conditions will dictate how far that goes. So it's going to bounce if it's bouncing on hard floor, soft floor, if it's into wind, uphill, altitude, heat, temperature.
Yeah.
All that things come into play when it goes. In terms of how far the ball's going to go. So all your job is to do is to hit that as hard, as pure and as fast and as hard as you can.
And as technically, I suppose.
That's the most technical sport in the world.
Yeah, so there you go. It plays into in anything else. A lot of people will probably be thinking, all you do is stand there and just... but then the technical ability for you to be able to generate that power, just as someone like me going down the driving range and try to do it, thinking, I'm a muscly guy, I'm going to blast it. It's just, like I have done with him. It's just not the same.
And you were pretty good, actually.
I wasn't too bad.
You were decent, man.
But you still refuse to take me on an 18-hole game.
Yeah, never in a million.
Yeah, never in a million. I don't think it's going to work. But
you wouldn't make it past hole fucking one, would you?
You wouldn't make off the first tee. We're digging a hole.
Yeah, I think the driving range is probably as far as it goes. Even pitch and putt, you'd be pushing it. So when did it all start, Joe? When was the age when you first picked up a golf club and thought, right, this is different. This is.
When did it all start? Golf started when I was 4, 5. Dad played a bit of golf. Nothing to any high standard. He was a decent golfer, but not in a pro or anything like that. But he played golf. He got me into it.
But that was his sport.
That was his sport after trying everything, as he did. He played football as a kid and all the rest of it. But he got into golf as many people do at a later age, and he got the bug as most people do. And that's an obvious one. But It got me into it when I was about 4 or 5. Gave me a little cut down club, so I started smashing out a mile, and then eventually joined the club back in 93, 94, which was in Barnet, High Barnet, where we was living. And even then, I had a bit of a knack for smashing the ball a long way. It was weird. No one knew about long drive. Even now, it's still an unknown sport, especially in this country. It's more American.
America, isn't it?
It's a bit more American. But I had when you look back at it now, I had a little bit of a freak where I could smack a ball really far. And again, we didn't know what it was. It was just, okay, kids hit the ball far, that's great. And then come 2003, entered my first competition in the UK, which was a chance to qualify for the World Championships back then. Again, not going with any real expectation. And then fast forward that, 2005, won the European Championship, got sponsored, got flown out to America, tasted Vegas for the first time. At the age of 20, so I wasn't even old enough to be there. Yeah. And then it sort of rolled on from that. 2010, this is obviously just a bit of a fast track, but 2010 ended up winning the World Championship, and then all the rest is sort of history. Yeah. Built a slight career off of it.
And then obviously my time with you, I was training with you way before the 2010. So
yeah, up until I was trying to think the other day what year that was. I wouldn't even be able to think about it.
So I remember I was coming back. So I remember once I slowed down with the professional fighting, I think that was around 2000, coming to around 2009, and then I said to you, right, I'm going to be a bodybuilder again.
No, the first one we started training was when I was deadlifting. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That's how it actually first came. I don't know how. We knew each other in the gym and around there, but I was slightly younger than you, and you was with a bit of the older crowd. I think I just trained in there by myself, and then I was deadlifting one night in the back corner. And you come over, thought, I'll join in some deadlifts, and from there that was it. That was it. I deadlifted 5 plates that night. I remember. You was like, just deadlifted 5 plates. What the fuck is going on?
What's going on here?
And we started training ever since then. But I actually, to this day, I can't remember what year that was. It must have been about 7 or 8. I don't know. 2007, 2008.
Yeah, it must have been early. It must have been because I'm thinking then surely it was prior to the iPhone days.
Oh yeah.
So we're talking. When did they come out? 2006.
Yeah.
So because I was doing all my strength and conditioning and a lot of strength training still when I was a pro fighter, but then obviously when that sort of slowed down, and then I got my family and stuff like that, and I couldn't make up the time to do that sort of training. But because I worked in the Works gym and we were there, then we started to really kick it off and really hammer it down. And
that was it. It just really rolled on from there. And then that night everything. Well, not everything changed, but Jesus, we trained.
So performance-wise, how we trained, how do you think we trained? We did mix it up quite early, didn't we? So we had a bodybuilding-esque sort of style, but we did still have that powerlifting sort of input in there as well, didn't we?
Yeah, to a point where it was, the gym that we trained in, you don't see many gyms like that now. But it was who can lift the heaviest.
It was all ego, man.
That's all it was. But a good ego. It was a good ego.
Oh, it's great. And
ego lifting, that's what it's frowned upon now.
And I always got that from one film that I think I've watched the most time in my life is Pumping Iron. Yeah. I've watched Pumping Iron over and over and over, and I took that psychological adaptation from Arnold, how he used to play. Even though it was all good friends, I would purposely be in there. If I see someone going in for a big lift, I'd fuck with their head, man. I would get in there and I would be like, right. And I've done it a few times and I was quite successful with it.
It worked.
I was quite successful with it. Obviously, these guys bigger than me, I'm going to give them the weight ratio. But no, we had to. I think our generation, we had a good group of guys in that gym that pushed us all very well.
But that's what it was then. You were a bodybuilder, but at the same time, you were trying to be strong with it.
Yeah.
You tried to deadlift as much as you can. You bench as much as you can.
And when you're young and durable, you can do that. So it was pretty much.
Every day.
We were pretty much. It was heavy every week, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
It was fairly heavy every week, and it worked. I got my best lifts in that gym with Joe. We trained very, very hard. The leg sessions were probably one of my favourite sessions because not many people would jump in and drain legs with us. It was one of them.
Jumped in at that point. At that point, but we had good. We had good people to follow at the same time as well, didn't we?
Well, I take a lot of my input from legs from when I train with Eddie Abu. That guy fucking showed me.
There you go. You train with someone who's actually stepped on Olympia stage.
Yeah, I thought I knew how to train legs, and then when I trained with Eddie Abu, I was a training partner with him for a good few years. I remember honestly, it must have been a whole year.
Scared to go and train.
I was in the toilet throwing up. Honestly, that guy fucking killed me. But he taught me so much, and from that day on, I find it very hard to hit that limit now. You know, he gave me legs, he gave me that push and that enjoyability, because I think we all get into training, we all have a favourite body part. Like, obviously mine was chest. I loved the fucking bench, and that's from one of an old guy, Spencer, who used to be in our gym. He was an absolute animal on the bench, and
he'd walk in off the street and bent. Did he ever do 5 straight off the bench? I think he did.
Listen, I'll never forget when I was probably about 19 and I was just on 100 kilos now, like doing it for 7-8 reps, and I was thinking I was the fucking man, and he'd come in, no fucking joke, with a cigarette in his mouth and go, do you mind if I warm up, Tris? And get on there and just start pumping out like 30, 40 reps. And then fuck off. Because back then the fire exit, you used to be able to like stand in and look down the gym, and it's incredible times, like the best times. I'm so glad I had that to keep me out of trouble and move forward.
He'd walk in cold, 4 plates. I don't know if he ever done 5, because Spence was just not finishing, but he was just after I started, or just he was not fitting in that. It's bad to say, but he wasn't quite maybe what he was 2 years before I started.
We all know now, from the athlete then to the athlete now, there's so much has evolved in healthiness wise, and we all know
rolling in with fags,
being a
Mars bars, milk,
being an 18-20 stone bodybuilder with a cigarette in your mouth. We know he doesn't really cut the healthiness side, but the guy was an absolute power monster, and he was a legend from our gym. So if Spence listens to this, that's a shout out to you, because you was a big inspiration to us to push us in the right direction. And then obviously with the evolution of growing up and learning more, we take it to the next step, which is what the generations are doing now. Well, I hope, but it looks like most generations now have got an iPhone stuck to their face, so it's a little bit different.
Knowledge.
Put that in my pocket.
But yeah, we done some good training, and obviously that had a massive play for your golf, didn't it? Being, that power, that speed training we used to do transferred into how you could hit that ball down the range.
Unknowingly at the point. To this day now, it's still for me the only way to. It's still the best way to train. It's not the only way to train. That's one thing I think you learn, or as we go on. If you're into your training and you're into listening to people speak, the more you know, the less you almost know, the more you realise you don't know. Because it's always evolving. I'd listen to like we all do. People talking on podcasts now. There's so much information out there. There's so much bad information, but for every bit of bad information, there's a couple of good bits as well.
Yeah, and you can seek the good information out. Like now, social media is such a big power. For me, it is like all my knowledge and all my stuff has come pretty much now from social media. When YouTube came, and like for Instagram, I think if you really do surround yourself with the right people on there, you're going to wake up every day and take something from it. But if you get that shit on there, it's going to fuck with your head. It's going to send you down the line. It's going to make you want things that are out your reach. And that thing, like for me, I had a big clear out. I went through it. Well, I don't need you. I don't need you. I don't need you. Always have something on there that brings something to your life. And I think that's the plus side of it. But again, like, don't get caught up on it. Like now, I still have the point where when I train, I come in, I put my phone on the side, and I do my training. I know
just like how it used to be, as you said.
And that's how it was for us. We never once did I see Joe on his fucking phone, and I'm going, Joe, come on, we got to, we were fucking side by side for the whole.
It's bad. Listen, it's the way it is now, and there's good sides and there's bad sides to all that. The bad side is when you see these people who haven't ever lifted a weight in their life, all of a sudden they've got, whatever. It makes you always sound bitter to go on about it because it is the new generation, but. That was never the thing. That was never the done thing. Get your camera out, will you? If we saw footage of us when we was in the gym when it was young, it was on some big handheld thing that someone had bought in just for this.
Be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, we walk around and be people like, "What are you doing? Get the camera out!" It's mad. It's a different time, different generation.
And it's moving forward differently. But I think, I'm not discrediting anyone. Like I know there's some people out there who do it very, very well, and they do put out the right information, and that's what you've got to do. You've got to seek out the people who give you the right stuff, the right things you can take and learn from and move forward, because it's there now. The world's your oyster. Like listen, I remember when we started training, that information was fucking hardly there. Like I even remember, like there was only two protein companies then. There was either Met-Rx
or Myplex. You had Myoplex back in the day, didn't you?
And Maximuscle. I remember the Cyclone days.
Jesus, what happened to them?
Fucking hell, that was like a product. Yeah, you put on some weight. I don't know what they put in it, but you put on some weight with that shit.
Cyclone.
So I remember like 18 years old doing my first couple of tubs of Cyclone and fucking blowing up. And it was
Creatine and sugar.
creatine, sugar.
God
and
knows what else, but
there's a bit of glutamine in there as well, I think.
so that was the first, I think, sort of all-in-one.
That was like the
Cyclone
first
was
all-in-one, and then
all-in-one.
a bit of HMB in there, was it as well? I think, but it was like, you know, that's when things really.
Bit of test, bit of
Yeah.
who knows? I crushed up, God knows what in there, but yeah.
No wonder you all got so fucking
was-
strong.
Oh, listen, I'm just so glad I lived that era, because it's like coming out of the 80s sort of thing. So I started training. 98 when I started training started lifting weights, coming off of being like from boxing. I got into that, and it was like you know, coming to like Dorian Yates was still pushing it then. Ronnie Coleman was on his way up, and it's like Kevin Lerone, which is still one of my all-time favourite bodybuilders. Watching them guys back then and just living the sport, like living.
That's who you. That's the thing is that's who you learn off back then as well.
Yeah, and
you didn't learn off
you.
of someone who is. You know, you didn't learn off people who had studied it and, you know, they got a few bit of information on it and things like that. You learned off people who had put it into practice. That was the difference.
Lived that life.
But
You lived it, and these guys were on stage doing it, and so that's how you knew what to do. You know, and even before that, what did you have? You had Arnold doing pumping iron.
pumping, yeah.
You know, that was it, and then you learned from him. Everyone up until the 80s probably learned from him until they started doing their own videos. I found some the other day of flipping Kevin Lerone. I was going through boxing or clearing out my mum's garage because that's where I put my gym, and I found old DVDs of Kevin Lerone, you know, the Maryland Muscle Machine.
Fucking love it.
That's how you learn. It was different back then. You had it on the TV. You walked into the gym. You had, you know, Jay Cutler playing, Ronnie Coleman playing, Road to Redemption. That's how you learn. That's how you got good as well.
Yeah, that's it. Just follow those movements, watch those movements. But then there's still such a big secrecy around then as well. So nutritional side of it and all that side of it there, which now is endless. It was
too much option.
The amount of times I told the story when I remember there used to be a bodybuilder. He used to always wear like a bandana. He always used to have a vest. I can never remember his name, but Gordon.
Not Sean Ray.
Gordon. No, I'm talking about in our gym.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Way back in the day when I first started, and I'd asked him, "How do you get big like that?" And I'll never forget it to this day. He said, "I eat a tub of ice cream every night."
You took that.
And like,
for
oh yeah, I took that dead fucking seriously. I said, is that it?
So Rich Piana.
What, you mean a fucking tub of ice cream? But no, it was hard to get good information back then because there wasn't YouTube, there wasn't anything like that. So you either had to pay bodybuilders a good bit of dough because I know a lot of the English competitors were having to go and seek their information from America. So I think one of the big guru guys was Milo. Milo, that's it. Milo Savvez?
Yeah,
I can pronounce his second name, but obviously a guru. And if you look at the guy today, you understand why
today,
he's in you know, and they know the in and outs of everything to do when it gets complicated like that.
Well, the old Dorian always used to go over and pound on as well, so you got to give him respect.
Oh, listen,
Where did he get his information from? That's what I want to know.
He was just, he's a very vocal. Back then, he was not a vocal man. Where now he's like, if you follow Dorian Yates on social media and stuff like that, he is fairly vocal now, and he's talked a lot. I know he's done a few podcasts with Brian Rose, London Real, and he's opened up to a lot of things of what he'd done. I'm not going to go too far into it now, but what he's done, and he's open, and it wasn't what you thought.
No. You know, it depends on what industry you come in. If you was around the industry, you knew secretly. And
I think it boils down to, now we're going into any sport, I think if you do all the protocols right, so you're eating right, your recovery is bang on, you're training hard, then you know you're going to be quite successful in what you push forward.
Everyone
to.
thought it was a magic pill back then. That's what it is.
That's what I think.
What's the secret? What do you eat?
The first thing we know is when we see someone, obviously like bodybuilders, it's like they just get like, oh yeah, they're just on gear, so that does it all for them. And then when any other sport now, it's like if you see anyone in good shape, first thing they get, especially now with all the trolls on all the social media, it's like juice. And I don't think enough people get credited for the fucking hard work that it all takes in. Whether you are using performance enhancing drugs or not, your hard work still pays off in a massive way. So if you're dedicating your time to nutrition, you're dedicating your time to recovery, which I think that's the flip of the script that's come over the years. Like back in our day, no one really preached to us, Joe, go get your 8 hours sleep.
No.
We're playing fucking Battlefield till 3 a.m. and then coming to training in the
That's a whole other podcast.
you know, so we're up playing Battlefield till 3-4 in the morning, but back in the gym at 9, pre-workout, boom. But that's our age could do that. But if we knew more about the recovery side, hey, numbers could have been a little bit more, a lot more.
It would have been, yeah.
A lot more.
You'd have turned that computer off at 1 o'clock in the morning, playing Battlefield, screaming down. They were the good times, man.
Good days,
that
man.
sounds like the other day. I hate it. That's the one thing that freaks me out is when I talk about time, because it's just like, where's everything going?
It flies.
Where the hell's everything going? We're talking about Battlefield, you know,
And
bad company.
And obviously now we're
lethal, man. You got Call of Duty now. Forget it. You don't know.
Well, we're fathers now. It's a whole different script. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't. I definitely can't be seen sitting down on the Xbox till 3-4 in the
I
morning
wouldn't
now.
even know what an Xbox looks like at the moment. I can't. No, saying that, I tell a lie because I'm still doing my cardio. I do my early morning cardio.
Yeah.
On the bike, playing God of War. I still can't get up to that game. God of War 4, I must have played it about 500 times. But that's my little morning routine. You get out there and you're pedaling away and you're playing. That hour goes. So I still know a little bit about it, but not much.
Yeah, but they were good days. Good, well-lived days.
As you said, it was the start of your strength. Because, like, I was doing just some research before this, and it kind of seems that what everyone was saying online was like you've revolutionised like the long drive. Because everyone's quite tall, but in terms of like sheer muscle mass and weight, you're a good like 30 to 50 pounds heavier than everyone there, right? This is just from what I saw, and then like that's something.
There's been. There's been occasions where it's been the case.
Yeah.
There's been occasions where it's been. I got into long drive and I was, like I said, I was new into training. I remember my first year really training, and I think it might have just been before Tris or maybe just around that time. But I put on 4 stone my first year. My first competition in long drive was about 10 stone, 10, 11 stone. And my second competition, which was a year later, because there wasn't that many, I was 14 stone. So I'd put on some serious mass at that point, and obviously that just kept going. But fast forward to, I'll never forget it, it was like 2007. Everyone, I sat down, I was at World Championships. It's my second year being there, and you have a players' meeting before it all gets rolling and stuff like that, because it's a show at the end of the day. So, you know, you need to be aware where cameras are, what's going to happen, run you through it. And you got 128 guys. I'm sitting in the, I must have been one of the first ones. You're in Vegas, you sit in the hotel, and the players walk in, and it was like watching an American football team walk in the door. Every single player there was massive. They were huge. They were just these absolute monsters, and it was just like, what the hell was going on?
Well, yeah.
And it was just the way it was, because it was more. It had been in America for like 10, 20 years at that point.
Because I remember when I was with you training, we was all looking at the man to beat was Zubak.
Jason Zubak, yeah.
Now,
who was an Olympic.
Now, if you type in up and look at him, he's a big, powerful man.
Yeah. He's your sort of height, but he was.
He's
just
a chunk.
Monster,
He's a big.
Pieces.
Yeah, Jason Zubak. That's the man to beat.
He was the man. Won it 5 times. Won the seniors division as well. And he's just but he was an Olympic lifter. Obviously done probably a bit of bodybuilding, but he was a beast, and that's what the guys were. But
so big. That's
I don't know. That's probably
try and get that a flip so you guys can see if you're watching.
that might be a dodgy photo, but he was a monster.
Mate, that's Photoshop.
I think that was before he dieted down. There's probably a couple of images on there when he go to
vascular one.
Go to that red one there. You'll see what it means. His arms of a flipping bodybuilder.
Yeah, he's a
vascular.
Yeah. And that's what we're talking about, like with the long drive.
But he was a beast, and in Europe it never caught on like that. I was always pretty much the biggest. There might have been a couple of guys tall and big, but it was never that power. It was never that muscular big. It was always just these guys are 6'6" or similar to some of the Swedish boys back in the day. But it maybe not into the training as much as I was. In the States, it's always pretty much been that way. But I also remember 2008. I walked into 2008 as one of the biggest there. I was like 280 pounds, which was, I don't know what it is now. It's about just under 20 stone, maybe 19 stone. And but that had been the training part up until then. That was just how That's how we did it. It was
127 kilos.
2 stone.
Fucking big.
My biggest ever. I think I measured at 130. I was 22 stone, give or take. That was when you was squatting 6 plates, deadlifting 6 like it was nothing, bench pressing 4, playing, you was playing jingle bells with 3 plates. You're talking 15 to 20. I think what do you get? 20 reps at 3 plates somewhere along the line.
I think it's 21. 21. My main benching was 21 reps with 140.
I had 17. I was either 17 or 18. I can never remember. 17 was 140 kilos.
My top bench back then was
fucking 140.
119.
I don't think I can now. But that was 10 meals a day as well. 10 meals a day you'd eat at that point. You was just eating it, but that was again
sheer just get size, get
just
strong,
get big and get strong.
And that's because we knew calorie. That's how you do it. Calories gets you the strength. You can't. It was a point like there's looking good and then there's getting fucking strong. And you got to sacrifice. I think a little. Right, we maybe gone a bit excessive with the foods then compared to
tubs of ice cream.
So I used to finish work at like 10 o'clock and Joe would come back up and meet me and we'd go McDonald's and sink about 20 cheeseburgers. Or
we'd go to Vans as well.
Yeah, the Vans was the place.
We'd go down, we'd get a Turkish, you get kebab.
So,
that wouldn't end there. That was sort of half 10, 11 o'clock. I'd go home and have a protein shake with 1,000 calories in it. Because you'd had eggs to it, you'd had porridge to it, you'd had all this crap to it that you didn't really need. But my last meal was at 12 o'clock at night. My first meal was at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was 2 hours. But listen, it worked. If getting bigger is your main goal, and that's how it works.
And that's it.
Did it have like a big, as you said, your heaviest is? How heavy are you now?
I haven't stepped on the scale for
like
God knows.
when
I would say I'm about 18 stone, give or take now. I'm the leanest I've ever been.
So you like
the lockdown, and all I do is walk everywhere.
play God of War on the bike.
I've been doing my cardio now. I've got the gym, so I'm back training for about a month, or give or take 6 weeks maybe.
Yeah, and it takes. And how old are you now, Joe?
36 now.
So again, for me, I think back then I was definitely into my prime then. So I think for me, my prime lifting was 29,
late 20s,
29 going into say up to 33, 34.
Still got the years.
Oh, mate, and then like now, like I've definitely have to focus a lot more now with my age with recovery and how.
Yeah, you got to take care of yourself a bit more. But I've always been luckily I've been into that a little bit. But again, this is all.
Yeah, you were always sensible with it.
It's always I learned through. Through first hand doing it. We didn't really know. You knew about training, you knew about eating, you knew about what to eat. But now it's kind of proven that you did it the right way. You was a bit lucky with it because of what the way we did it.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that it hasn't really evolved that much. No. The basics have always been the same. You lift heavy weights, you do barbell training, dumbbell training if you want to. You eat plenty of food and you sleep well. That hasn't ever changed. And luckily enough, we learned that a little bit when we was young. Again, not knowingly that was the right way to do it, but turns out now, sort of 10, 20 years of training later, we've done it the right way.
And that's why we was able to get.
Well, you won a couple of world champs, so it clearly works.
Exactly
along the line.
And it's
always learn from the guys that do it. You never get a stupid world champion. You never get someone who goes, "Oh, that was a bit lucky." Every now and again you do. Every now and again, you'd won it by a lot. But listen, whoever's done it, whoever's been there, has put himself through it.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's hidden, I think, from the social media side is you don't really get to see the not so glory side of it, the strenuous sessions, the hard graft, the failing in your sessions to be able to show you get to see all the good stuff and the big lifts and the whatever anyone wins or competes in, but you never really see them putting out content because no one really wants to see you fucking failing a weight, do they? No,
they do. They just don't admit it.
But they don't admit.
They love a failure. Everyone loves to see you do bad.
Because it makes people
or just the hard, or just the hard challenges of life. Depending if you are lucky enough that you can just focus on your work and your work is bringing an income in your sport, or if you're having to juggle like a big heavy lifestyle. Because I know you've got sponsors now, haven't you? So that must.
I've been sponsored since I first really won 2010, my first world championship. I got sponsored off the back of that, and then sponsors have come and gone or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially now with lockdown, Jesus, you try and get money out of companies now.
It's hard work.
You tell them what people know what I do now pretty much if they're interested in that game. But the thing is, you know, the way it's been for the last almost 2 years now, year and a half, whatever. It's a different world at the moment. It's hard. So luckily enough, I got someone, you know, my whiskey sponsor Tom and Tao, who stuck by me.
Yep.
During this time, you know, they know there's not much I can do from them at the moment, but the only thing that I can do is be prepared for when they say, all right, go on guys, golf course is open, things are open, corporate days are open.
Because we know you, another way you earn money is obviously the European side of championships.
That was a little bit of it over the years, yeah.
And then expeditions.
Yeah, exhibition work. Sorry, exhibition work is a big one for me. That's the sort of day-to-day bread and butter stuff where corporate days, companies have a corporate day. And you know, you go along and you perform a little bit and you hit a few balls from them and you know, you show them what you can do. But I could never have done that if I hadn't had a world championship. You know, because otherwise you're just a guy who hits the ball a long way.
A long way.
You needed to be, here's a world championship. Well, here's a world championship. Here's a world champion. Now go show somebody how to do it. And that's literally, you know, what I've built up until now. Taking an absolute batter in the last year and a bit.
Yeah.
Because they've locked us all away, but it's
been challenging for everyone.
Jesus, man, it's hard,
and still is. We're still not really on any clear route at the moment, or what restrictions we're going to see further on down the line, aren't we? So, you know, at the moment, everyone's punching in dates, hoping, you know, we can go out and party again or enter competitions or whatever. But we still don't really know the outcome of that, if that's going to happen or not.
But
so,
like I said, I've got to be prepared for when they say, I think off you go and do it. That's why I've had to build a gym. That's why I hit balls off of a solid concrete floor at the bottom of my head. You know, I'm hitting balls off tennis courts during lockdown.
What the fuck? I hope you got it. Where they going? Just
this is how ridiculous it's got. I've got an archery net the size of that wall, which I hang over a tennis court, which is like an abandoned tennis court, never been used for about 20 years. And I'm teeing a ball off of solid concrete. You know, just to keep swinging, just to keep doing something.
Keep doing
otherwise, listen, if I'd had a year and a half off up until now, I'd never swung a golf club, I don't think I'd ever come back.
Well, and I think that's probably the big outcome we can see with younger generations at the moment. Like, how many generations of athletes have we maybe lost now to these lockdowns? And not only that, how many people, like, I know for me, I value something. If you take a year away from me, I'm not getting that year back, and I'm getting older.
Yeah.
So it's like that's something.
I'm not in my 20s anymore either, so it's one of them. It's Jesus. If you got to do what you got to do, but maybe that's the champion, you know, sort of mindset. You just keep doing it, and you keep doing whatever you got to do to, you know, do what you have to do. So it's it's a weird time at the moment. Let's just hope we get out of this and
get back to
things get back to somewhat normal.
Yeah.
Your training's look completely different then, or has it stayed similar? Like, as you said, you built your new gym.
Listen, whether you call it a gym or not, it's a space in a garage.
Some weights.
I got the right equipment. That's the one thing I did there. I got a solid squat rack. I got solid bars, solid plates. I'm lucky enough to find some of this stuff brand new. Some of it, you know, people just selling on eBay or whatever. You know, I've not done an Argos or an Amazon job and gone on and bought some plastic sand weights. It's all proper. And for what I can do, I can squat heavy, I can deadlift heavy, I can bench press heavy. I got competition bench press, which is nice. And that's for someone who relies on strength is really all you need. You know, you can walk into some gyms. This is obviously a CrossFit. It's completely different. But you can walk into some gyms that specialise in that, and you know, you see a machine. Oh, let me try that machine, which just it's good. But it takes away from that brute, raw, I'm going to train strength today.
Well, they can take away a lot of the positioning and the mechanics of the movements, can't it? So you can rely.
It's an isolation movement.
You can
sit down.
You can get the load on there to do what you want to do, and it is sometimes nice. Like, I do like going back to a bodybuilding gym and getting on some leg presses. Because where I am now with all the squats that I've done over time, sometimes my hips are good, sometimes they're not. But I can pretty much get on a leg press any time and feel pretty good. So it does have its parts.
It has its parts. It does have its parts. But the basis is, for me, the basics are there. So I can do the big three and shoulder press. Shoulder press is also a major one for me. You know, I do love a good behind the neck shoulder press with a bar.
And I suppose if we're looking now, if people are looking at a performance side of it, whether you're a golfer or not, and undoing what Joe does or what a CrossFit or a bodybuilder, I think there's one thing that comes clearly with that is that start with the basics. You know,
start and finish with the basics.
Bench,
just start and finish with them.
Squat, build around it. Obviously with accessory work and structural work to make sure you're doing it technically well. But I don't think, you know, that hasn't changed from day one to now, has it? It's
like even in a sport like golf, as you said, you would never really relate squat, bench, deadlift to being better.
No, you
Or
would.
just-
No,
or
you
you
would.
just-
And,
just
and,
get-
and even, you know, golf is a complete. So what I do, it involves the same thing, but obviously I'm trying to peak at something. You know, it's like having a 100-meter sprinter versus a 1500-meter sprinter. You've got two different things, two different things going on, or a marathon runner to even
But
more
they're,
extreme.
they're doing the same thing. They're running.
They're running. One foot goes in front of the other. For me, it's the same thing. I'm holding a golf club, but I'm just trying to peak at that one thing, and that requires strength. Playing golf doesn't. And you've got a lot of golf coaches out there now who, you know, are not ruining people, but they don't need to do a lot of the things that they're doing. Everything's golf specific. You got to do this. You got to have an uneven surface. You got to balance on something or holding something else and something else. Jesus Christ, you know, just
Get to the basics.
Just get strong. Just get strong. Get healthy. Learn how to recover. Learn what works, and then just go out and do your sport. That's what people forget.
I think, well, we can even see, like, this even transfers into racing car drivers. Like, if you look at a racing car driver, there isn't a fat racing car driver, even though you'd probably expect that because they're just
You got to
sitting
be
down.
fit and strong.
I think, and that's
Some of
where
the
you can
boys are
look.
doing it,
Like,
yeah.
there's every sport should have a plan of strength and conditioning to supplement what
the
they
base.
do. They'll just, you know, move around different areas, core work, unilateral work, strength work. You know, whatever it is. I think there's always a program that can help adapt you better to your sport.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and you know, we know a few of the boys out there. Mark Bell's famous word. You know, strength is never a weakness. A weakness is never a strength. You know, you always want to be stronger. If you ever want to take any athlete, or I don't care what sport it is, anyone, whether it be running, Olympic sports, football, anything, you're always going to be better if you're slightly stronger.
Yeah.
Always.
More
You haven't got to be the
robust as
world's strongest man, but for you personally, you know, if you take a guy who's 100 kilos across the board, he can bench press 100. Well, maybe that's quite a good bench press for most people. But you know, if he can lift 50 kilos on a bench press, he can do 100 kilo deadlift. If you can double that, right, which is quite easily done, yeah, with some basic strength training, you're always going to be a better athlete. You don't have to do all this other stuff. You just keep it basic.
And then flipping that around, like you just said with strongman, we can see that what makes them better is bringing in a bit of fitness.
Yeah,
so if we
yeah.
look at the strongman way back in the day, and they'd be on the floor with oxygen masks blown out, where now we're looking at, you know, Brian Shaws and Eddie Halls and some of these young Polish guys, like they're pretty fit. You know, they're pretty fit.
They're fit for what they do. You've got to be fit for what you do.
they're fit for what they do. But
These
you
guys
know,
weigh 400 pounds and they're sprinting with 200 kilos on their back or doing whatever they're doing. We've done a little bit of strongman stuff here today. You know, you've got to be fit to some point.
And it shows that even if you just try and pound the heavy stuff, yeah, that's good. But if you bring in a bit of fitness with it as well, it's going to give you that longer endurance.
Well,
so
it's
especially when they've got like a
Injury
carry.
prevention, yeah.
Because
you
I know,
and
like,
even-
in
that's-
golf, it's like, well, I don't know what it's like for you as a long drive, but my limited knowledge of actual golf is like loads of back injuries, loads of people have hip injuries and stuff. And have you had any kind of serious injuries?
I always say, knock on this one, I've never had an injury.
But then, as you said, from your strength base, and you're probably putting a lot more shearing force through that kind of, because you're trying to get power through that club.
I mean, you talk about forces, not the shearing force is actually a really good one. I'm surprised you know about shearing forces. That's a good one. But shearing forces in golf are huge, and it's one of the ones that you create. You're talking into the ground, your feet are turning into the ground. To this day, I've had niggles. Obviously, we've all had niggles. A little bit of tendonitis here, there, and everywhere. You're hitting the golf ball 150 miles an hour. For 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. Eventually you get a few aches and pains. But again, that's where the basic trainer side. Your body learns and adapts to how to recover from certain things. If you feed it what it needed to do that, with your protein, your fats, and your carbs. If you give it the right tools, it will heal itself, regardless of whatever injury. Listen, hopefully I don't ever get an injury, but if I ever did, I'm pretty certain if it's not some sort of life-threatening or career-threatening injury, you can recover from it because we know how to do that now. We know. Again, it's basic. It's eating the right food, resting,
and just being strong.
I say resting. It's eating the right food and actually getting the blood flowing around that. Whatever it be. Movement. You need movement.
I suppose if I look back in my training now, one of my worst injuries was probably my first cage professional debut fight when I got armbarred, and he popped it. a few times, and it was
Popped
like
your elbow, right?
Yeah, it went bad. It went bad. And do you remember the bruising that came out? Like the whole inside of my arm was black. So basically, I went to the hospital. They took an X-ray. No bones were broken, and that was it. They sent you off on your way. Now, for me to at that time, I didn't really have the money to go and spend on. Or I didn't really know how to. So from what I'd done, I knew I had to rest the arm because I couldn't move it. But I was training. And I think that was, for me, it helped speed up my recovery. And then as soon as I could move, I was bicep curling. And, you know, it may have been like an inch or two, but I was always sort of like pre-rehabbing just naturally. And that just came from instinct because you can't keep me sitting down.
Well, if
You
you,
know,
sit- if you
I'm
sit
sure.
down,
I'm
it
sure
gets
some
worse.
other people would be like, "Oh, right, I'm going to go and lie in bed for 10 weeks," and you know, I was never
Well,
like that.
if you go to a doctor at that point and you show your arm, I mean, your arm was
It was black.
It was black all the way down. Obviously, they're going to go rest, which, you need to rest, obviously, we know that. But at some point, you need to get it moving.
Listen, I was still in there on the bench, one dumbbell. You know,
There's-
there was no stopping me, man. He's like, no fucking way, I'm not stopping training. You know. And,
That'd probably even help. There is science to dictate if you're
Well,
injured one side.
we always know
rather
if
than
you know,
adaptation.
as soon as you stop your training, your recovery process starts straight in. So if you have got, say, an injured left side, and you're doing, say, shoulder work, or we know that your body's not going to go, oh yeah, sorry, left side, you haven't. We know it's going to probably
there
speed
is
up that
crossover.
recovery. You know, and
Not only that, you're getting your blood moving, aren't you? You're getting your blood pumping. The blood's got to go around the whole body. We know it goes to the target area when you do train a certain muscle, but eventually it's got to filter off of there and go back round into your heart. So.
yeah.
And but you're pumping nutrition around at the same time. That's how things will heal. It's how that's how you recover.
Yeah.
Inflammation is part of the recovery process.
It is part of it.
Don't go and take a flipping anti-inflammatory. What are you doing? If you're not literally crying in pain.
Well, we're even now hearing that I scientifically, I don't know the guy's name, but the guy who created, was it Rice?
Oh, rest, he's like basically.
He's
half
flipped the
of it.
script around now, hasn't he? He's going, well, actually, don't ice it because all you're doing is numbing the recovery process because you just
You need the heat. You need the heat there.
You need the heat.
Who feels good in the ice? No one does. There's massive health benefits to ice. We know that, right?
I don't know, Wim Hof. would
Right,
probably-
listen,
Exactly. No,
He'd probably-
he takes
listen.
it to the extreme. But listen, if you keep him in that pool for another 20 minutes, you know he's going to freeze to death. So there's things to it.
But-
We know
yeah,
that ice has its benefits. Heat
has-
has its benefits. But heat, at the end of the day, is your blood moving around the body. It's getting the body temperature increasing. That's why whenever you go on holiday, you feel $1 million because all of a sudden you got 30, 40, especially coming from where we come from.
Yep.
You got 30-degree heat on you. Everything heals. Everything recovers. Your
That
body
sun is
relaxes.
important. What are we getting from the sun? You're getting that healing, that vitamin D.
yeah.
You know.
Vitamin D is another one. Jesus, yeah, you can talk about for hours.
Well, with most people, I always say I think that's probably one of the most. If you do a blood test, you're probably going to see that's probably a deficiency, especially in the winter for everyone because the days are shorter. We're not getting enough light, and then if you are working in an office, are you out getting? I know we talk about trying to get out and getting that 20-minute sunshine on your face. Take your hat off, let it get in. You know, it's gonna help you out for your
I'm
recovery.
not ashamed to say I've had my top off in the winter here trying to get the sun.
Oh,
2 weeks ago, I think we had a nice little spell. It was like sort of 10, 12 degrees. I'm outside with the top. I'm getting that vitamin D. I don't care what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm going to, because you do get cold at the same time.
Yeah,
but
you need, as soon as
You
I
need
go out
that
for a
sun,
walk
man.
and I see that sun, I'm going, right, let me try and walk in the direction of the sun and unclothe as much.
Just in a
Yeah,
park.
you see this naked man walking around in the winter like,
That's the only reason I
oh,
shave my head. It's just to get that dome has been burnt more times, which I'm afraid to say. But Jesus, it attracts the sun.
It
man,
all
doesn't
does play a part in it, and I suppose that's another thing with the supplement world is that I think a lot of people will try and rush thinking, right, I need a supplement rather than getting again the protocols of nutrition, recovery, good training program to get you going, and then that stuff can come in down the line.
a supplement by nature is to supplement what you're missing. Obviously, if you're not getting sun, take a vitamin D supplement. I take one to this day now.
Yeah.
Because but I don't believe it's anywhere near as effective as actually sitting out in the sun.
Yeah,
and catching it yourself, and your body creating vitamin D.
Vitamin
which is
D
what it
for
does.
me is definitely a must.
It's a hormone now, they say. It's so powerful. It's actually a hormone for everyone, not just men. But it's that powerful. It does that many things. You ever hear someone talk about vitamin D, you think it is the wonder drug of this century. But
And we even know that there was a few cases. I know there's a few things that popped up with the COVID. saying that
Get 'em
vitamin D.
Give him some vitamin D.
Give them
for
some
Christ's
vitamin
sake.
D. You know, make them healthy.
I don't even want to get into that. 'cause
Yeah, no, that's a whole nother. That's
You'll
a
get
whole,
someone on here, but Jesus, give some health advice.
well, that's the whole thing.
Just give some health advice
Look at the whole thing. You know, you look at the whole thing about it. It's like, come on, there wasn't one speak about immune systems. It's all like, right, let's lock you up. Oh, we're going to let you out, and we're going to give you basically half price fucking McDonald's or KFC.
and only an hour to go back and get it.
Or go sit in a beer garden, and you know, and it's like, okay, I know mental health, we need the beer garden, but fucking let's get it right. The fitness industry keeps you fucking healthy, and it just this
Mate,
could go somewhere else now.
Listen, gyms are amazing, right? And the things that gyms do, 99% of people will never know what they actually do. For you internally,
For you, it's important because it's.
For me, I know what it
sport,
does.
right?
But I'm talking about for the general Joe Blow, Joe flipping average, who goes out there to go to the gym. Even there, you get benefit from it, right? Even if they're in the pub at the weekend, I don't care. Going to the gym still gives you some sort
It's
of
still
benefit.
giving them that little bit of health that they need.
But there's just no health advice out there, is there? There's no real health advice. All you get is doctors telling you to take this and take that, and wear your mask and stay away from everyone. Only go. Fucking hell.
And then you
go for a walk.
and then you have that fitness.
Do yourself a favour.
And then they'll, because they're on social media, you get that fitness influencer. Look, I drink keto tea and fucking. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
They're always in the background looking good.
Yeah, and then you see the before
what it
pictures
is,
and
that's what
after
it is.
pictures, and you're like, okay, it's the same fucking picture, but just now you've got suntan.
Yeah.
Or you put some fake tan on. It's like
It's ridiculous.
It's so manipulated, and it can just throw people off because everyone wants that fast. No one wants to do the hard work or the preparation. They want that fast.
All the
Give me
basic. The basic.
And
All the
when you
basic.
say to people, let's do the basics, they're like, nah, that's boring
It
as
doesn't
shit.
do it. Well, they think it does. That's the thing. They don't think it does anything. They don't think going out for a walk does anything. They don't think a bit of fresh air and a bit of sunlight does anything. This stuff does things, man. You just got to keep doing it. It's not going
Consistency.
to happen overnight. And there's always 10 factors to something that you know. If you've got headaches, it's not just one thing you can put it down to. There's a few different things. But if you do them few things every day, Jesus, man.
That's it, consistency.
You would have saved the.
So I always say to some people when I get caught up in conversations, go, make a list of things consistent on both aspects. So consistent things you're good at, consistent things you're bad at. Now, consistent things you're bad at could be like, obviously, eating too much sugar, going to bed late. Now, if you look at that and you're weighing out with those consistent things you're doing badly, obviously you're going to be good at bad. Because that's how it works. And if you try and flip that around and go, well, okay, I need to pick this up and actually put in time for those boring things I know, is like going to bed early, turning, your TV off, putting your phone down or whatever, trying to get that downtime, get that sleep time in, trying to stay on a good nutrition. Everyone goes, oh, I've got no time for prep. Everyone has time for prep. It's not the hardest thing in the world to prep some meals. I'm lucky I get time to cook my meals every day, so I don't need to cook endless amount. But back in the day I did. Back in the day, I did have my mum helping me out. That was,
we did.
But if you've got someone to help you out, ask them if they don't mind. It's just, but being consistent and the good things are going to get you into your paths of being a champion and doing things right.
Like golf's the perfect example for that because obviously you probably spend hours a day hitting fucking balls hard, but then you've probably spent years more than that just learning how to swing correctly. Because as you said, it's so precise in terms of.
Of course you do, and I still do it today. This is going back to the point at the beginning of this when we said about the more you learn, the more you realise you don't know. You haven't got a clue, and it's exactly the same with golf. Golf, when you boil it down, technically. Forget it. No one will ever understand it. But I've got a good coach who's even when we first started. The whole story about me quickly, just when I first started long drive, is my dad asked Lee, who I was working at the A1 driving range at the time. I was 14, 15 years old, and he said, "Can you help him out with this long drive?" Lee just went straight off the bat. I didn't even know this story yet. My dad died in 2010. I had no idea about the story, but my dad had asked him. Can you help him out? And he's like, yeah, I can. He goes on the way home. He goes, I suddenly thought I hadn't got a clue about long drive. No one knows about it. No one knew about it because it's so to actually teach someone to hit a ball a long way. The biomechanics into it and how deep you want to go into it is ridiculous. It just goes off the planet, and there's so many people trying to do it now, and they still don't work it out. So even to this day, I still have regular lessons. Every pro has lessons. A professional will have more lessons than an amateur, because you need someone to keep an eye on your swing the whole time. And that's the way it works. And it's the same, same with training. You always need someone. You're always learning something. You're always doing something you didn't know. Again, today I'd never done that sort of training. I've always wanted to, a bit of strongman stuff. See how fast and how heavy you can do certain things. That's brilliant. But to this day, I've never actually done it. That's the first time I've ever walked with a trap bar. First time I've ever pulled anything of that sort of
and it,
that sort of weight. It's just really,
but it was good today because I haven't touched heavy weights like that in quite a bit of time. But it's and this
you still got it because it's like the years of consistent.
But this is where we can now
practice.
tap into that sort of like mental side of it. So, as we know, like how I can say this to people is like when Joe is setting up for that long drive. If you are familiar with training and you're familiar with Olympic lifting, I can put those two side by side. They're very technical.
Yeah.
So if that swings off at the start, you're not going to save it at the end. Same with like an Olympic lift. Yeah. So if you're off at the beginning, very more likely it's gone, isn't it? It's got to be. So those points coming up, and then we can go back to the. I remember 2010 being a massive year with Joe. It was a big year for Joe because that's the year he lost his father. Right before
3 months before.
3 months before he won the championship, and it was a fucking massive year. And we had to hold it all together. We had to stand by Joe, but it just shows the mental, the natural ability of his mental attitude to go off and win a champ. And do you know what? It was almost like for me, I knew he was gonna do it. I knew he was gonna do it. I just had this feeling. I just knew it was just like. I know it was a mad thing because it was quite emotional. Obviously, when his dad. I still remember the day when you come to the gym and way before when you told me your dad was ill, and I was like, what can I do to help Joe now? And I just got to stand by there and be with him. And then obviously pushing forward his sport, we was all so behind him to do the long drive, and it's hard. The years before that, no one gets to see how hard it was to get him out there to do it. We had to raise money for him to do it, get him out there, and then that year 2010, it was almost like a story, wasn't it? You look at that now, like
if you look back in hindsight, Jesus, for me, it's weird. I never really think. I do think about it, but I never really talk too much about it. But I wasn't even qualified for that event. I went out to Vegas and I wasn't even actually. They do a last chance qualification before the actual event starts. And if you haven't made it throughout the year, you go and do that. And I had to go and do that. And I, first round smashed every single ball out of bounds. Literally about one more round away from going home, not even entering the thing. I actually eventually got a ball in bounds because obviously you have to keep it within the grid. ball 5 out of 6. So it got down to that point, and still not even in the event. Still got to go, and I literally went through and won the whole thing. I went through more rounds, hit more balls than anyone. Just a bit of a mad, crazy, But that's that side of it. But the mental side of it.
That's what I mean. The mental side of it. You think just that everything was against him to win that competition. Last chance, losing someone very close to you, like everything mentally. A lot of people would have just. Falling apart, but it was a massive year. And back then, it wasn't televised as much, so we was like literally refreshing. What's your hit? Fucking like that. And then fucking just seeing that ball, and it was a cracker, and it just was because with that, like I think what you don't understand, it's you got to hit it straight. Yeah. It's not just like hitting a ball and wherever it lands. It's like they give you a grid, and it's got to stay in there. And it's like again, you've got so much going against you. The weather conditions, this, that. It's all part of that. And I remember just seeing that ball land and just staying, and it rolled, and we was like, "That's it." And it was
done.
How did it feel?
Done deal.
That's I can imagine because that's years of. You said you started golf back 2000.
Started long drive originally back in 2003. So it was a long old process too, but
7 years.
It was one, but it wasn't. I'd never even at that point. It was just something to enter just for a bit of fun. It was never taken seriously. I only sort of started thinking about it actually when my dad fell ill. Originally, it was 2008. That's when he got sort of diagnosed and he was a bit ill. And I was like, you know what, I need to do something. I was window cleaning at the time and working in the gym. And I said, I'm just going to focus on this long drive thing. Still, I have no idea why to this day. But 2008, I finished top 8 in the world. And then I thought, maybe I might have a chance. And then 2 years later, 2009, I should have done a lot better than I did, but I felt that was the year of swine flu, and I flipping got ill out there. Spent like a week in bed in Las Vegas because I couldn't move.
Yeah,
literally couldn't move. So 2009, who knows what happened? But 2010 went back and won it. So I don't know. Not one to believe in fate or anything like that, but like it worked out for the best. There was always a silver lining. What was it? Every cloud has a silver lining. And obviously that at 2010 was a silver lining, pretty big one.
Yeah.
But it was also a big fucking cloud as well.
It was
madness, mad times, man.
mad times.
I'll never even looking back now, I can't remember much of it, but it was, yeah.
But we train hard.
That's all we did know. Yeah.
That didn't slack off, you know. So even though we were doing strength training, we were always talking about Joe winning the long drive championships.
It was a mad. I can't.
It was never a part of not.
Yeah, my dad died on. I think it was on a Saturday. No, it was a Saturday night, Sunday morning thing, early in the morning, and Monday I was in the gym. That's how weird it was. I was supposed to work that night. I phoned up Gordon. I was sitting in the, because we saw him Sunday morning, whatever. And I phoned up Gordon and said, "Listen, I won't work. I can't work Monday. So can you do?" That was always my shift, Monday nights. But he got someone in to cover it. But I was still in there training because it was mentally. It was the only thing I knew.
You released
to keep you kind of.
Which is a mad thing, really, when you think about it. But that's what I did. I went in there. I still remember to the day. I was pretty much the only one in there at the time. It was just a quiet Monday morning, but that's.
But having something to focus on with such dedication that you must.
I don't know why I was there. Who knows why I was there? That's the only thing I could think of to do was maybe keep your mind off of something. Who knows? Looking back now, it could have been a different reason completely. But I remember being in the gym Monday. Yeah, he died Sunday morning, 4 o'clock. I think it's 4 o'clock in the morning. So, not to put a morbid tone. It just goes to show.
But I think it's great that we can open that, because I think there's a lot of people out there who probably don't know this story. It's a great, or not a story, but know your real life. And like I say, you can see someone hit a ball and think, oh yeah, but there's hard work to it all, and mental there's hurdles along the way, man. There's hurdles along the way, and then your second championship, and then from there you can look like you. Once you become a champion, I suppose, like a fighter, you're sort of like expected.
Sponsors, as you said.
It opens up the doorways, but now you're expected to be the champ again and again and again. And obviously, with the sport that Joe does, it's a very hard one to nail all the time, because if you've got Mother Nature going, fuck off.
Which you've had.
If Mother Nature goes, oh, I'm going to blow this way for him, but I'm going to blow that way for you. That's how it is. You can't go with that. So when was your second championship? Was how far apart from that?
16. I should have, to be honest, won 11 when I went back. I was unstoppable. I was the fastest club in speed by a mile. I was killing it, but got unlucky with a few bounces. You can't. So one thing you can't. Someone always told me in the sport. The grid determines who wins. So when that ball lands, that ball is either going to shoot forward, or it's going to go sideways, or it's going to stop. It's going to do. You can't control it. And I basically lost a couple of world championships because of that. 2011 come third. 2013 comes second, and a winner takes all prize money. £250,000 first prize comes second. So that you want to talk about mental stress? Yeah, that's a serious one.
And I've seen it. I've seen it those years in between when Joe come back from. It was a very quiet moment. It's like, what do you say to him? Because I know what he's like. He's burning inside. Oh. So I'm like, well, this is going to be a quiet training session, but we're going to crack on and do it. We're just going to crack on and do it. But it's part of the parcel. Yeah. Like it's the losing, and that's what you can see. It's part of the parcel.
You learn more from your losses, don't you? Winning's great, but what do you learn? You learn it's great.
Fuck me,
and you want to keep doing it.
I learned so much from my losses.
Also, from getting your arse handed to you, whatever it be, whatever sport, you learn from that, and you either turn back or you keep going. So. Yeah, there's some big losses. That 2013 was a big loss. 14 come third again. I should have done better. 15, I was fast, but come top 16, I think, that night. And 16, that was 2015, and 16 ended up winning it again.
And then obviously along the way it's changed, didn't it? So it went from Vegas to where, Texas?
Went to Texas. Now who knows where it's got. I think it's actually going back to Vegas this year, but much school. At the moment the whole COVID thing and the restrictions and all that stuff has literally killed the sport, like I said. So,
yes.
At the moment it's all a bit up in the air, but they'll do something again in September. Back in Vegas where I won the first one.
And do you have to qualify for this, or are you?
No, you're automatically in, but whether I can get there or not, I don't even know. As we stand right now, I can't get a flight unless I go 2 weeks in Dubai and fly somewhere else like everyone else is doing. But, hopefully September. I'm sure we'll be out of this. If we're not, then I think there's going to be more problems than me going to Vegas.
And then how long are you looking at this now, competing?
I'll go as long
for
as I
you
can.
can.
I'll go as long as I
No,
can. I don't think it's been tested in my sport.
I don't think it has. No, I don't think it has. I think I would
tested.
say obviously the physical ability of it, like with what you do, is from what I've seen with some of the other long drivers. Obviously, their training isn't as important as how your training is, and I think again that brings the longevity in the sport for Joe to carry on longer, because where they're now probably getting a bit slow and a bit more sore because they're not taking as much care.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's the speed aspect of it, which is a bit. Speed's a bit of a funny thing. Training for speed, it's a weird one. You can always be powerful. You can be powerful into late ages, but to be that
fast,
that speed, that
reactions,
lightning quick reaction, which is a deep thought somewhere in the back of the brain, which I don't think anyone understands. But to be that fast, how long you continue to be that fast, I don't know. To be at that sort of level. We'll find. I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to find out anyway.
Yeah, and then we can bring into another big change in your life is becoming a dad.
Yeah. What a mad thing that is.
So we look at all these years, and then you can think, right,
what's this all of a sudden? What's this bundle of this this? Oh my god.
Look, I know. For me, it was obviously my stepson, obviously I've been the dad to him, so I learnt a lot from that along the way. And then I never really thought of having more kids down the line. And then now it's happened, it's like, it changed me. It was a different... It's not about me anymore. So that's what I'm trying to... It's not about me anymore. Fuck it, of course it is. If I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the gym. Put airplane mode, see you later.
Yeah, I'm out. It is about you. But no, you're right. I mean, that's just it's almost not worth talking about, because until it happens to you, you ain't got a clue.
No.
You don't feel it. You haven't got that feeling. You just don't know, man. And hopefully... Listen, we all know there's some, things that don't always work out, but when it works out, it's just fucking magic, man. It's just...
I love my boys.
It's the best thing in the world. That's what you can say.
And I've got a little girl coming in 2 weeks, and, I do partly
That's
think...
going to be a test.
I think about them. I think about them all the time, and for me, just... Obviously, I'm not in a place where you are with competing, but I still got that heart for competing. So, I would love to compete still at something, and I suppose that's something that I suppose that's where we are. We've always got that heart, haven't we? We've always got that competitive side. I haven't found the fucking thing I should do.
Does it give you more of a drive? Like, obviously,
I don't know, really. People have always said that, don't they? I'm going to do it for somebody else. I'm going to do it for this. I don't know, if I'm brutally honest. I think it just
changes.
I don't know. It changes that side of it. You're either good at competing, or you want to compete, or you don't. To have something come in the life, and you get that sort of. It's always something that somebody doesn't really not understand when they go, now you got something to work for. Now you got something to. Fuck you! I've been doing that for ages. We're talking about. I'm busting my shit for this long. Now I've got this little bundle of joy. Do I work harder? I don't know. If I'm brutally honest, I think it's just something. Maybe keep you focused. Maybe we'll leave it at that. Am I ever going to train as hard if I've got 8 kids or whether I've got no kids? I don't think that changes. I think you either got it in you or you haven't. Maybe just something to keep you focused. Let's just leave it at that. And you do tidy up your day to day all of a sudden, because your time is spent somewhere else doing something with him or her. It just. I think you have to reevaluate a little bit, and you have to juggle a few things around, but you keep going. There's nothing. Certainly, it's not going to. It's obviously not going to stop you. But
I think when you look at it, how long we've been doing it, there's why would I stop?
No,
I wouldn't. I love it.
It's not a case. I don't mean it's not a case of stopping. But are you going to work even harder? I don't know if it gives you that drive like that. That everyone sort of like I say, that's always coming from somebody who doesn't necessarily compete, because that's in you regardless. Especially if you've won. Obviously, I've won 2 world championships prior to this. Am I going to win another one because I'm extra focused? Maybe. But I think that's in you regardless of what happens.
Something you can't really quantify as.
Listen, if I won another world championship and I've got this little sprog next to me, and it might, I might change my mind. It might be like, God, it is all for him, and this is all whatever. But just keep yourself focused, man, and keep doing it.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Show him what Dad's all about. That's what it's all about.
That's it.
Get him on the driving range.
He's swinging a club before he can walk.
Yeah.
Little guy, but yeah, no, it's brilliant, man. Good, amazing experience. And just one you can't quite cry. People always said it to us, which has always been actually a bit of a shitter, because everyone always says, "Oh, your life's going to change. Oh, it's going to be this." You always hear this sort of negative thing about it, don't you?
Yeah.
I know they're joking around, but you always hear. But Jesus Christ, man, my life changed for the much better. I'm fitter, better looking.
Yeah.
And it turns out that I actually, I can breed a good-looking kid. So it's always a bonus, but. Scary. Just the whole experience is mind blowing, man.
It is. It's a mind blowing experience, especially now. I've got 3 of them now.
I'm gonna say I've only got 1.
Yeah.
3 kids.
I'm
pulling my hair out of my head knee.
But it's like I've got the teenager, then I've got the 3-nager, and then you've got the newbie to come along who's going to change it all up, because there's a little bit of estrogen coming back into the house. Jesus. So it's like, I'm looking.
Scary times.
I'm looking forward to it. But like I say, nothing changes with my training. Nothing changes with my outlook on life. Like, I still do what I do. I'm still looking to do other things and a bunch of other areas. And having talking to you today and all these flashbacks makes me feel privileged. Like how we've done it, what we've done, and I'm so. I don't look back in a day and think, oh, I regret doing that. Yeah. I've loved everything I've done to do with my training, and I still love my training. And I'm just feeling privileged that I can just still be amongst it, trying to earn a career out of it. I suppose that's my main purpose of it now, staying in it. I love it. I don't want to leave it. I've still got the bug. People say, a lot of guys who, know me, who don't train, they go, how do you do it? How do you get up and go? I say, I don't. It's just instinct. It's just normal. Like, I still have the bug from 1998 to now 2021. I still have that bug. If I'm at home and I'm seeing something competitive on the TV, that gives me fucking so much drive. Like, if I'm watching like bodybuilding or a bit of CrossFit, or I still love UFC, watching that, man, if I could, I'd jump back in that cage. I know I'd probably get my head knocked off now because I'm old, but I still love it. Do you know what I mean? It still drives me. And I think that's probably been my downfall with my training, is that I've loved that. Rather than me dedicating solely to one thing, I've always gone, what's this? I'm going to do that now. But I don't regret doing that, because I've learned a lot of things along the way. I've met a lot of good people. I've tried sports. I've competed at things. And I'm still living the life of it, still looking for that next thing that comes along.
It's mad. That's dedication for you, though, isn't it? That's that mad dedication. But and then you're talking about the sort of motivation at that point. When you see something that switches you all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, love that.
That's a motivation. Yes, I can do it. I'll sit there and watch YouTube and watch a few of the guys do it, and you see some of these motivational things. Some of them are a little bit whatever, but you see it for me. It was always Jay Cutler and Ronnie Coleman, all them sort of boys training. You think, man, I can't wait to get back in the gym, just do some flipping bicep curls. You know what I mean? It's just that little motivation that triggers you. But there's also that dedication part where you just can't stop.
Yeah.
You just can't, and you don't want to, and there's just nothing that's ever going to. That's dedication.
Yeah,
and that's something inside, as you said. That's
something
if you have a kid, if you don't,
teach it's whether you can teach. Well, you can't teach it, but it's just something that is in someone and not in somebody else. So it depends on if you got it or not. Which, all of this is genetic when we think about it. If you want to take it back to the bare bones, are you genetically gifted or determined or pre-programmed to do this sort of stuff? That's probably for another podcast.
Yeah, and that's where we look at athletes, where you have there's obviously the genetic gift, and then there's the hard worker. And some people go, he's got good genetics. I go, yeah, but you can't blame it. Or if they're hard working and they've got good genetics, then you've got a lot to compete against.
Hard work beats genetics until genetics works hard.
Exactly, that's such a great saying.
You're not going to beat that guy. I'm not going to be a 100-meter runner, no matter how
hard you work. Yeah.
I was actually, to be fair, I was a slight 100-meter runner, but I'm never going to break records. I'm not going to be Usain Bolt because I just don't have that gene. Some people, if you're lucky enough to find what you're genetically gifted at, then that's a different thing altogether.
Yeah,
that's when you get to this. That's when you get a world championship or whatever. But it's who knows? Probably most of the population never find it at that point. They never find what they really want to do or could potentially do.
Yeah, I remember like saying from Muhammad Ali, said no matter what he would do, if he was a bin man, he would have been the best bin man in the world, you know, because he just had that mentality to do it.
Exactly, and again, your mentality, the way you think about things is genetic somewhere along the line. Some people just go off the rail. You can't teach someone to do what they don't want to do. So, you know, you got to be. There's a lot of luck behind all this stuff as well. I'm not going to say there's not. You know, you have to be lucky at something.
I think we
But
can.
you do create your own luck at the same time. You put yourself into a position that allows you
giving
to
yourself, yeah.
Like you not qualifying, then going out to Vegas. You might have been lucky that you might have hit that one ball, but
you give yourself, you put yourself in a position that you might do something. That's, you know.
I've always believed that with life, something, I don't know if it's spiritually or what, but I always believe those crossroads are always there. You're always approaching these crossroads in life, and it's just which one you're going down. It's going to give you what you want, or where you. And I think I don't know too much about it, but I do think a lot of people, why they feel like they're going down the wrong lane is just probably where they are, how they're thinking, the energy around them at the moment. And I don't know, that's a completely different topic, but I do feel like for me, I've hit some tough crossroads, and I feel fortunate enough. I always feel like I've had a guardian angel go, no, not that one, not that one. You're nearly there, but not that one.
It's more of a drag. You're dragging your bag.
And just as I'm about to go down that one, I've had that little bump into, what's this one? And it's just taken me to pathways and met new people and stuff like that. And yeah, I think a lot of that can be, you know, you see a lot of religious people say life is written out for you, you know, so how much of that is true? Who knows?
Who knows? Do the best of what you got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So where do you see the obviously, as you said, like long driving's not huge in the UK or Europe. Where do you where's it going? As you say, obviously after this year, last 2 years have been a bit of a shitter for everything.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it had a name for itself, and you know, from something that no one knew when I won in 2010. Come back here, everyone's like, what's long drive, whatever. You know, I got my first Sky interview about two or 3 days later after coming back, and I built something off that. And every golfer knows what long drive is. Put it that way. Unless you're a senior who's 85 years old, just doesn't watch TV or whatever, or has got a mobile phone nowadays, everyone knows what long drive is. It is becoming slowly a real, its own sort of entity, its own brand. So it will continue to grow regardless of what's going on in the world like it is now.
It's like most sports. If it's that explosive and that distance and that,
it's exciting.
Everyone loves to see it. Let's not get it wrong.
You don't, until you see it. If you're into golf, that's one thing. When you see it, it's something else, man. It's impressive, man.
It is impressive. Yeah,
it's the fastest moving object in any sport ever. You know, whether you take cars into it, maybe cars, like dragsters, maybe. I don't know what their top speeds are, but
you're still like ball speeds. You're looking at like 200 plus miles an hour, right?
Yeah, 225 plus. You know, I think the world record on an indoor sim was like 231. I mean, 231 miles an hour, and it goes that fast in like a split second. Because it's the fastest part.
Put it this way: it's that fast that the ball's actually changing shape.
Changes shape.
If you used to catch a picture of it, it'd look like a. You know,
like a bullet. Change it, yeah, to a point. Obviously, hopefully the ball's good enough to return back to shape. But yeah, it does. It changes shape. But I mean, it's like a missile coming off. And the club head speed, try 150 miles an hour to try and move something that fast. It's serious when you see it. Well, I've always got my best reactions doing exhibitions. Yeah, you do a few shows, you got a bit of a talk to you, and you warm up to it, and all of a sudden you get the finale where you get the big driver out, and all of a sudden it's 400 yards, 500, not 500 yards, but 400 plus. It's a sight to see. But anything extreme in any sport is, whether you're into it or not. Watching a guy throw a baseball at 100 and something miles an hour, that's impressive to see, because it's like, what the hell was that? And so hopefully it will keep growing. The exhibitions will start up, the sponsors will get back, and we'll just carry on doing what we do. And through social media now, it's up to you how far you can take it.
Take it, yeah.
We'll keep growing it and keep doing what you do. So that's the plan anyway. Again.
So what is your social? It's just Joe
Miller LDC.
Joe Miller on Instagram, and that's pretty much where you just stay on, really.
I do now, yeah. I mean, Twitter's every now and again, and Facebook, whatever. But Instagram was the one that sort of took off a little bit for me going back to 2016. So I stuck with that, and I just posted. There's only so much you could do at the moment. Yeah. Watching me hit balls off solid concrete isn't the be all and end all. But like I say, it will come back, and we'll get some more stuff and more content. And whether it comes back on the TV or not at the moment, the way it is in the States, they're doing their bit out there. There's actually a competition going on as we speak. In America, it's like the pre-qualifying for the World Championships, but it's literally starting from scratch. It was owned by World Long Drive. It was owned by Golf Channel. They've taken a bit of a beating over the last year. So all the projects that they had, sideline projects, it's like Sky Sports owning it.
Yeah.
They've had to cut all them back. So at the moment, as we stand, there's a little thing going on in America. What we'll have here, who knows? I want the exhibitions to get back out. I want to start doing that sort of publicity side of it. And just like before, I'll go to the States and I'll try and win a third one.
Have they given a date now for the golfers to open? I think it opens before the gyms, doesn't it?
Is it the 12th?
Because I know the gyms are opening on the 12th of April, yeah?
Yeah.
I
think it's 29th of March.
I think it's
golf.
29th.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
sure golf.
Because it's out.
Can you just a little bit earlier?
Can you just go to a golf club and just fucking smash a ball down the fairway? Or do they like
How good can you play 18 holes?
I never played 18 holes in my life. I don't even know. No, I'm a pro golf. I'm a professional golfer at the same time. The long drive just kind of took over, and that's the route I went down. If I had my time again, who knows what I would have done. You turn up and you smash balls. Even now, with the whole law thing or whatever, I can go and practice at a golf club if I want to. But it's just you got members to look after, you got committee to look after, and if one guy's doing it, regardless of whether he's a world champion or he's Tiger Woods or whatever, golf's a funny old sport sometimes.
Yeah.
What's he doing? Why is he like?
Well, because the most recent guy.
Why has he not got his checkered bottoms on?
Yeah.
Are them socks regulation?
Why is he wearing Nike trainers?
They got hoodies in golf now. That's a good thing. Hoodies are back.
Fucking hell, sign me up.
The guy who won the guy who won the American Open, he basically his idea was, I think this was like a couple of years ago, it was like, I'll just put on a shitload of weight, I'll try and get closest to the pin, and then I've just...
It was last year, the USPGA, Bryson DeChambeau. He's taken long drive and he's put it into things. So he was one of the shortest hitters ever on tour, give or take. He was he was one of them guys that there was something to him, but you couldn't quite work it out. He's very sort of articulate. He's got his yardage book. He looks into the numbers more than anyone I know. With lockdown, he went, I'm going to try and put on some weight and try and see how fast I can swing it. And believe it or not, he like I say about finding potential. All of a sudden, he's swinging it as fast as most long drivers. So he's gone on that. And he won the US Open by sort of 5 or 6 shots. But his thing now, and the whole thing around golf, is Bryson DeChambeau. He's the biggest name in golf at the moment because he's just smashing the ball miles, and it's never been seen before. They've never had a sort of long drive-esque golfer who can actually really shoot and play golf. Just won the US Open for Christ's sake. He can go out there and he's just smashing balls left, right, and centre, and it's the biggest draw in golf since Tiger Woods. Hopefully Tiger Woods gets back to normal. But
comes back from it.
Jesus, car crack, madness. But he's basically bulked up. He's swinging it fast, which is all you need to do. You need to get strong, like we said. To keep it basic, get strong, and practice swinging that club as fast as you possibly can. There's nothing else to it,
and that's it. That's it. And then all it takes is that one person to just change the evolution of the sport.
He's pretty much changed it to the point now where you got all these guys, and again we always go back to the US because that's where they take their training seriously. But in colleges, they're just practicing swinging it fast. That's what they teach the kids now. Get the kids strong, get them fast, get that whatever you call it,
neurological,
just bang, firing, because it all starts with that one thought, doesn't it? Right, I'm going to do it as fast as I can. Whether you can actually apply it or not, but you need to get that in them from young. And that's exactly how I started. I'm thinking about it now. There's one thing my dad always said: you can always learn to hit it straight, but you can't learn to hit it far. So don't worry, because even as a kid, I was just smash it, but I was smashing it here, smashing it there. He goes, don't worry about it. You'll learn to hit it straight. Just keep smashing it as hard as you can. And that's all I did, was just batter that ball from an early age. And Jesus, who knows that one bit of information actually paid off to this point. Crazy, but it's strange. He's doing his thing on tour. If you ever look on a social media site now, all you see is Bryson been just hitting it as far as he can. A little ball speed number comes up, little club head speed comes up, and people are loving it or they're hating it. It's good. Either or, it's quite good.
Yeah,
it's good for the game.
Publicity, right? Yeah, because there's still an opportunity for you to go into golf then. If you can get close to
who knows? I just don't think I don't know. We'll leave it at that. I have actually no idea, but no, them boys are. While I know I'm good at my sport, I also know what them boys are like, and it's a different game, man. And we only see it on TV. You only see the top 10 guys really, who's winning the tournament at a time. To do what they do is fucking incredible. Yeah. So it's like watching anyone.
Because that's it. I'd probably say, like, if you look at the pros in the game, there's probably more pros at that than any other sport. There's a lot of pro golfers in there.
Yeah, actual pros.
No, so you think
because you could be a teaching pro, you can be a tour pro,
so
whatever.
To work your way to the top through that, it's not a small community, is it? It's a massive community.
To be on that top 100 board is ridiculous, and to be that top 10 who's winning tournaments. But that's why Tiger was such a such a phenom. He was just he'd done it day in day out, years and years.
What
and
you
years
can
and
see
years.
just from the age,
and you look at it the way he brought up. He was the same thing. It was just mentally bang on it all the time, training all the time. So there's something to all this madness, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
The more you look into it, the more just fucking, as you said, the less you know, the more refined you have to be.
It's with all sports, all the same.
Yeah. Know your craft, learn your craft. Yeah. Don't ever think you know any of it.
We all know that
always be open to something new. Always be open to learning and finding out what you could be better at sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's like, don't just think you know it all. Always look at other things coming along, because we see it change a lot.
Look at Woods and be like, well, I have to just play exactly like Woods, but then this other guy comes along, puts on some weight, he changes the game. It's going to constantly evolve over time.
Yeah.
I guess the same's going to happen for.
Well, that's why I love, like, if you look at one of the newer sports, like if you look at the UFC, you can actually see such a big evolutionary change.
That's changed more. Not a sport has grown that quickly, that fast.
So if you look at the 90s, when it was pretty much going and it was just all holds bar, this against that.
Street Fighter.
Now we realise we've
the old Pride where they had like sumo wrestlers
Pride was Pride was
dudes.
brutal, and anyway where you can soccer kick in, you're talking.
But more entertaining about it.
Guys out on all fours, and you can just go fucking take that.
But the madness back then.
God,
how that sports to this now.
Yeah, but look at it now. It's like it's fantastic and such. It's still my number one sport. I love it to bits. But you can see, look at how that's changed over 30 odd years. It's crazy.
Money changes it.
Oh, of course it does.
Money changes the game. Money changes absolutely. It's changed football. It's changed professional football. It's changed golf. It's changed. These boys are playing for serious cash now. MMAs are fighting for serious dough. Yeah. Once money gets into a sport, it just changes it, whether it be for the good or for
you know what funny thing you just said that, because now we're just getting these crazy bouts, aren't we? So we're getting all these.
There you go. It goes downhill.
So it's just about money now.
It peaks when you got to, and then all of a sudden someone's fighting a YouTuber.
We're getting these YouTubers and like, was it Logan Paul and
he's fighting Mayweather and his brother's fighting Ben Askren.
And on that Ben Askren, I didn't realise. Frank Mir is fighting in Targa, like a fucking really seasoned pedigree. I think light heavyweight professional boxer. I'm like. What the fuck, man? Don't get me wrong, MMA is all good, but once you put him in, like we see, like Conor McGregor is a great striker, but he's not going to go anywhere with the Mayweather, and I think we're just seeing, and then we got the strongmen now, so now we've got Thor and Eddie Hall.
Oh my god. Don't get me wrong, I want to see that, because that's two guys that are coming from there. But when you got,
it's going to be great. But
it's like me. It's like me going against Tiger Woods.
This is
vice versa.
In a fight.
No, but it's like me saying, "All right, Tiger, I'll take you around 18 holes." He's going to batter me.
And this is where
with his hand. But then I say to him the other way round: "I'll give you a long." Obviously, you're just talking similar things, but miles apart, man.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, for me, I thought it really does take a disrespect, because you're going to see professional boxers in their careers not get near that money.
Nowhere near.
And now you've got some fucking loudmouth of a thing fighting this guy to make money. People going to, and I think not discredits, but I think it disrespects the sport and the hard graft of some of those people out there. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of fighters who they haven't maybe got the what's the word? The aspect to be out there on social media and have a big profile because they're so in tune to their craft and they don't want to be there talking, and they're going to get overlooked by silly things like, you can go down.
You take that fucking money that you're paying those boys and you put it into like grassroots boxing or whatever, and you're going to create so many more potential champions and create a more exciting
but it
field.
doesn't sell. It doesn't put bums on seats. That's,
That's
right.
it.
That's all it is.
Exactly.
Again, it's money. Money takes that sport, and like I say, for the good or for the bad. You know,
Goes back to-
when these boys are winning shit and they deserve to win it, like in my sport,
That's
you know,
it.
they're playing for almost £2 million first prize, $2 million first prize. Some of these major championships, you know, over 4 days. Yeah, fair play, whatever. That's great, and it is a good thing because he deserves to win it at the end of the day, and whether it be for £2 or whether it's for $2 million. But when you start taking it to the next point, and it's a social media battle.
You see that evolution coming in long drive? If it's happened to golf already.
No, it couldn't happen in long drive. You just couldn't. There's just no way it could ever happen because you just couldn't do it. It could happen in golf. Like I say, it could. If I got such a big celebrity, or one of the long drivers becomes such a big celebrity, could he go against the Tiger Woods and play 18 holes? Yeah, he could do because we can all get it around a golf course. We're not going to win, but you could get it around a golf course, and it could be a celebrity battle. If I was a huge celebrity of 5 million followers or 100 million followers, whatever. That could work, but in terms of someone coming into a long drive, it's like, no, you're never going to, again, it's like me saying I'm going to drive an F1 car because I can drive. You know, you're going to crash on the first fucking corner. Or you're going to stall it off the line, one or the other. You know, because it's an extreme sport. Whenever you get something that's super extreme like that, you're never going to compete. Not in a million years.
Yeah, and that's why I think you can probably get away with that in boxing because it can just be sloppy boxing. Do you know what I mean? But in MMA, I don't think we're going to see that because you're going to get fucking really hurt.
You put Mayweather next to McGregor in a fucking octagon, and he'll just kick him in the face.
Well, he's going to take him down to the floor, and he's going to be like, "Well, now what do I do?" He's going to snap his neck in
It's
about
very
4
easy
seconds.
to take like a wrestler aspect or a jiu-jitsu guy out and say, right now strike. With a boxer, we all know that boxing is one of the best striking sports in the world. So it's like, you've got to practice your craft. And
It was the boxer who stepped into a ring. MMA ring, and he hit him one punch and he went down. I think who's the tall? Is it Silva? Anderson? No, not Silva.
What, heavyweights? Or?
Yeah, heavyweight. Who's it? He was
You
really-
talking
Tim,
fucking Ngannou? Because he's got
No, he's
powerful.
fairly
It
new.
was a pro boxer. I think at the end of his
it's-
career, it
I
went
knew
against.
Ngannou
There was a
was-
tall white, really tall white heavyweight MMA fighter. I can't remember his name now. I'm trying to think it's Tim, but it's not. Anyway, he went into the ring with the guy. One punch knocked him out. One punch, the guy, because he was a boxer. He said, "Look, it's obviously your MMA ring, but it's boxing rules." The guy just laid him out in one punch. This guy's a heavyweight champion of the sport. It's too when you specialise in an extreme of anything. MMA is obviously a mixture of it all, but the boxing part of it. If you're the best boxer and whatever,
And you catch.
how are you ever going to start? How are you ever going to stand?
Or we can even talk about strongmen. Mariusz Pudzianowski.
Yeah,
Fucking hell.
short-lived, but fair enough.
Fucking becoming a cage fighter in Poland.
That's madness.
They've got a massive organisation there, don't they? So it's like they draw in a lot of numbers and make a lot of money. But yeah, that's mad because he was one of my favourite strongmen because he just looked awesome, didn't he?
The
physique.
He looked like
Yeah,
Arnie
it's
in
like,
physique.
that vascular ripped and fucking
But that's
super
where it's
strong.
going now. You say that. That's where it's like he kind of changed the game. It used to be, as you said, just big guys with massive bellies. Now it's-
Again, I think he was just a genetic freak for it.
Well, yeah,
He just had
100%.
that gene not to put on that fat. He just put on pure muscle,
Yeah.
often pure muscle. He'd eat whatever. And then you see Eddie Hall when he pulled 500 kilos or whatever. And I know Thor done 501, but Eddie's was still a more impressive lift.
Because he's the first man to have done it. Break that barrier. And we know that was such a hard barrier to break.
He done it in a competition. He done it with other events going on. He
Yeah.
pulled 500 kilos. Forget it. But he wasn't exactly Mariusz Pudzianowski in terms of his condition, like rip wise.
Yeah.
But you look at him now, he's in fucking good nick.
Well,
He's in good shape now.
But like the guy who won Strongman just recently, he's like
Yeah,
spitting
actually,
image
yeah,
of
he's in
Pudzianowski.
good shape. Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
good shape. I didn't actually see it this year, but I knew it was that
watched
new
it.
guy because of all the lockdown. I think
Yeah,
it was all a bit funky, wasn't it?
It was all right. It was a bit, it's just very odd, isn't it, when you've seen just restrictions on people and masks and stuff like that, and it's just like it makes it a bit like.
I think it wasn't even going ahead at one point. I don't think.
Yeah, I think it was all. I think it was all like quite last minute, and then they had like fucking bad weather out there as well, and that sort of like had to change the area from where they were doing it because basically it got blown away with a hurricane. I'm pretty sure.
Probably was. Yeah, it was in Florida, wasn't it?
It was in Florida, yeah. I think. But yeah, it's
every sport's got its evolution like that, right?
That's it.
Who knows where it's going? Who knows? You'll get at some point. You'll get some guy who can do everything. It'll be the world's strongest man, the world's longest driver, the world's best at ever.
Well, you're
I'd like to see Eddie Hall swing a club, actually.
He did though, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He went on one of the YouTube guys' channels and tried to swing a club and can't. Just
Listen,
couldn't
he
do it.
put
He's
on.
just not got the moves. He's just stiff.
He's not going to have
Listen,
it.
he put on a picture on the other day on his Instagram of when he was 16.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Oh
Looked
my
like a beast. Yeah.
fucking god! He looked like a 25-year-old man,
Yeah.
but who
Wait.
trains hard.
You talk about genetics.
But he was a swimmer as well. Wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was
that's what I mean.
Not Olympic swimmer, but he was a decent swimmer. At
That's
the
what I
time.
mean. So he's got that endurance background in it. So
He's got the whole background. Yeah.
he has got the whole background.
But anyone, like I say, anyone who can do anything and be the best at it, you got to pay attention to.
But
it.
he's just got that
Whatever it is, who knows what it is?
Mindset.
Mad strength, mad size, bone structurally, tendon, ligaments. They've got it all. Somewhere in there, they've got it all. Just whether you can find it or not, who knows? Yeah. But yeah, Eddie Hall. Who's going to win the fight?
I'm going to go with Eddie.
He's got a bit of a background.
I just
hasn't
think
he?
he's just.
He's just got the
He'll be
aggression.
faster. He'll be more explosive. And I think just because
You got to shit yourself when you stand in front of the floor, haven't you?
But did you see?
Six-
Big, he's 6'9",
Did you
6'9" or something.
Did you see the fight he had the other day?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
very sloppy. Like, I've seen Eddie put sparring videos on prior time ago before this even,
Yeah, I did, yeah.
and I just think he's the better mover. I think he's done it a little bit longer, and obviously with his more of athletic background beginning, I just think if he can outlast the first minute, I think he's got it, no problem.
Yeah,
So I'm
it'll be
gonna-
interesting. Like I say, it's a nice thing to watch. If there's nothing else going on.
Yeah, and the good thing I like about it is they have dedicated a good amount of time to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they've just gone, right, let's go and crack on and do it.
Yeah.
They're putting in, 2 years?
It would have been. it probably
Eddie,
would
I
have
know
been
Eddie's
now,
been
yeah,
doing longer
with all
because
of
obviously
this.
4 run the, and
Who's the organisation behind it?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Someone
But I know it's in
someone's
Vegas.
obviously-
I know it's in Vegas,
Somebody's
isn't it?
obviously put the money up for it.
Yeah, yeah.
They get
And how
nice,
this,
nice
you know,
contracts.
Like you say, a little bit of banter in their sport, and someone's gone, look, do you two want to fight each other? Fuck it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
It's a good idea.
It's a good way to solve out. Like that's it. Like they say, what do you want to go for a scrap out the back, and best man wins and shake hands at the end. Hey, done and dusted. So it's it'd be entertaining to see.
Who knows, man? We'll see.
Who
It'll
knows?
be a good one to watch. Let's just get it back to normal and see what's going on. Man.
Yeah. So now we can see that for you. Rest of the season, get you back out there. Try and win the
rest of the
championship.
season, just keep winning. Just keep training. Keep winning would be nice, but keep training. Let's see what the corporate season will open up again, and that there's some companies throughout this who have probably either made money or kept it the same.
Yep.
And I think there's going to be a bit of a good feeling about things going on. Hopefully the sun's going to be out. It's that time of the year.
I
And
know.
people are going to want to spend money
Listen,
and get out on a golf course. And
I'm telling you, I know there's going to be some good parties going out there in June and September, man.
Yeah, there is.
Going to catch me at a couple of them
Yeah.
for sure.
if that ever, I don't know if that's going to get better. You're going to ever get in crowds again. I don't know.
Mate, listen, I don't think I think if they say you can have a festival and you can have a party, I think once people are there,
All the festivals are sold out.
yeah,
Okay.
they sold out
Yeah.
straight away. Yeah, some of them. So I'm looking forward to that. You
It's
know,
like a life we forgot.
It's going to be even weirder going
you
back
go,
to
yeah.
them.
Don't it-
You're going to look at some of the coffee. You go,
don't it just make you look at life a little bit? Like I know I've taken a lot of things from these lockdowns and gone, shit, you know what? Life ain't as bad as sometimes you can dwell on silly bad things. Like fuck me, how much now would you just love to go out and have a pint with someone, or just go and have a fucking party? Do you know what I mean? Like simple things like that. So.
there is exactly that.
But-
take your kids swimming. That's one thing.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
You take them on holiday for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean?
Take them
Like
swimming,
that.
take them on holiday, take them out, and not have to worry about. I don't know. You see people cry. I walk every morning. I go an hour walk with them in the morning. Every morning, all you see is people avoid you. Across the road.
Scary.
that sort of
Listen,
thing.
I
It's
see
like,
people
come on,
nearly get
man.
run over.
I know.
I'm like
I
walking
know
down,
there's a
and they're
virus
like, here
out
we
there,
go,
but you're
here
not
we
gonna
go.
catch it walking
and they're
past
like that, they're like, beep, beep. It's like fucking lemmings. Fuck's sake. And even like,
It's madness, man. It's just madness.
it is.
We get it. There's something going on out there, and people have lost people, and people have been in some bad situations.
Yeah.
Where they can't see loved ones, man. elderly situations.
Yeah,
But
it's, you know,
that day, I'm walking down the street and someone's crossing the road to avoid me. I'm walking along with a pram. It's like, what have I got? What am I?
yeah.
It's just carry on walking in your path. Stay in your lane, man. I don't know. You guys.
We'll see where the rest of this year goes.
Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back, and we'll be stronger, and we'll appreciate it more. Hopefully, that's the only thing that's going to come out of
Yeah,
this.
like I say, take a good few things. Like, you know, I can look back at things and appreciate a lot more. Like, definitely my work. Like, through this last lockdown, I had to go out and do some separate work. Nearly broke my fucking ankle doing it, and I was just thinking there, doing this work, thinking, why am I doing this? But the maddest thing from it is that the place that I work has been closed because we're not allowed people in, but yet I went and got another job that I was going into people's fucking houses all day long. I never got tested. No one asked me for tested. All I had to do was wear a mask up and lay some fucking insulation in there. But, you know, it's another thing. It just shows how mad and crazy all these rules and regulations contradict, and then all the data is all over the place. And I know there's a few people that I follow on Instagram that they diverge into this science behind it a lot more and explain it a lot more. So again, that's a complete another topic. I'm not getting on that today.
No, we're here for hours.
Yeah. So
No, it's good.
that's it. Hit everything there today, Joe.
Yeah, a little bit brief, but not brief, but anyone who wants to know any more, Jesus, I'm sure. Hopefully, you boys will be the new thing coming up.
This
10 years time, if you ever make it.
10 years,
Yeah, you know,
we just said consistency.
something I like to try and get the message out to people. I know I've got hopefully a good following to start with. We've got, one of you on here, got a great story, great background of us training, and just keep pushing the right messages out. So if you want to find out more about training, more about life aspects, this is what it's about. It's out there for you to get. And if I can help spread and help people get on a better track and understand and go, oh yeah, I listened to that and that helped me, man, that's what I'm about.
Yeah, if you can help one person, it's worth it at that point.
Yeah,
so.
no, that's what I'm about, and that's what I'm going to keep
Good luck
pushing
with the podcast, boys.
to do. Nice one. So
Thank you for coming on.
yeah,
Anytime.
Thank you for
So,
talking. You've got
for
fascinating.
all you guys,
said.
please push a like if you've enjoyed this episode. Subscribe for more future content. I've got guests. I've got quite a good line of guests that I'm going to hopefully get on here to keep it entertaining, all about life and sports performance, all their backgrounds.
Because there's a lot, as we've seen from today, there's a hell of a lot of crossover from something as I'd put specialist compared to what we've done, and so
Yeah,
it's
and
all
that's it.
tied.
All ties in, doesn't it? And there's always that big word that I love: consistency. I fucking love it. Of good things.
Yeah.
Not consistently.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming. But yeah, we'll leave that there for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in and watching it, and catch us on the next one.